Madison wanted to go with me. She always wants to go with me. And she had gotten in the back seat behind me. So we were on the main street in Miles. And since I had the trailer, I couldn't park right there. So I was going to have her run in the store before they closed. And she hopped out and she was going to cross the street to go into the store. And I thought she had already gone. And I pulled forward and I didn't know that she was still standing in front of the wheels. And so that knocked her down and it drug her.
Madison Wilson was, I guess she's been a healthy girl. I don't see her very often in the office. She's always a joy when she comes in, brightens up the nurse's day, happy, cheerful girl. And one day she was standing behind the right wheel well of her parents' trailer, and her mother couldn't see her because the wheel well was blocking the vision, and began backing up. And the trailer knocked Madison down, and fortunately the wheel caught between her legs, and instead of rolling over her, just pushed her along the road.
It was by the grace of God, I guess. Whacking me upside the head. I don't know that the screaming that I saw her in the mirror, and so stopped. Had to back up. I had to back up to get off of her, and at first we were going to wait for the ambulance, but obviously we were fearful of what internal damage might have been done. We were scared to wait too long, and so thankfully Shannon is right there. I think we were there in 15 minutes or less. I don't know if we should say that, but so we just went straight to Shannon.
The wheel had broken her pelvis, and needless to say, being pushed along the road, she had quite a bit of scrapes or abrasions, we call them. In fact, in some cuts, some required some sutures.
Madison had extensive wounds over the lower front portion of her body and then down on both thighs. Pretty extensive, fairly deep, and they were caused by a dragging on the ground, as well as the basically blunt trauma to her body.
Wound care for Madison was hell. There's just no other word. They would put her on as much morphine as possible to try to help with the pain, but we just had to hold her down, and she screamed through the entire thing. They had to debride it. It was like a second-degree burn is what it was classified as, and so they just had to debride all of that and try to keep it from getting infected or anything like that.
We have various forms of debriding. In Madison's case, we used some Duoderm. It's a type of debridement dressing that we lay on the wound, but it's necessary that we take it off each day, because as we remove that dressing, it brings that dead tissue off with it.
It was very tough for her to get around, particularly the first couple of days, and those were the toughest for her. But her parents were there 24/7.
We both coach, and so we have crazy schedules, and it was in the middle of basketball season for us. The community just was amazing. They're an amazing community to be a part of. They came out of the woodwork asking, when do we need to get your kids, what do we need to do, bringing food, and the nurses just kept commenting on all the stuff in her room. I think we ended up with 20 stuffed animals at least, and just all ages. Her kids from her grade, high school kids, teachers, the administration, everyone would come in, and I think that really started lifting her spirits. And then just to have the availability of watching a movie. They had all these movies to choose from, so she could pick a movie, or they had the gaming thing, and I think that was good for her too, because she would sit with her brother and sister when they'd get there after school, and they'd play a game or something like that. Madison was in a wheelchair for, I guess, 2 months, and then after that she was on crutches, and she was on crutches until mid-May. She was released from crutches mid-May because she got to participate in the field day at school. To watch Madison get to participate in field day, because I think she'd been released just 2 days before, or just right before, was obviously very emotional, because As a parent, we knew what a close call it was and what a miracle it was that she was able to run and jump.
Well, I'll just say Children's Miracle Network is great for San Angelo because kids can stay in San Angelo. They don't have to travel off. If we had to travel off with Madison, it would have been really bad. I wouldn't have been able to stay with them, and being there in San Angelo, I could stay the night, still come to work, things like that.
It means a lot to me because, like Bo had said, we wouldn't have been able to stay here, especially with her being a trauma patient. I don't know how much more care she would have needed in the wound care we had, and she had to have special ointment for the wounds and things like that. And to be able to stay in San Angelo, I think, is the one thing that really helped keep us going.
I think one of the things that benefited Madison was the fact that she was able to be brought to the region's only level 3 trauma center that's designated by the state as a trauma center. I think also she benefited by things that the Children's Miracle Network provides not only to the hospital, but to the region, to the regional EMS services, regional hospitals, and then also to the nurses and the different services in trauma that take care of patients here at Shannon. So it's a multidisciplinary process that Children's Miracle Network has seen able to help over the years.
Well, Madison is a miracle kid because the accident was what could have been a very severe and life-threatening. Being knocked down by a vehicle that large and not being crushed was just a miracle in of itself that she's still here. She fought the injuries well. It's a miracle to only be here 1 week, considering what happened then. So we consider Madison one of our special miracle children.
Please support the Children's Miracle Network
and help a miracle kid like me.
Shelby started out with the flu, or what we thought was the flu.
Took her to the doctor. He said just do what we were doing as far as the flu goes. And then we got a call the following Wednesday from school saying that she could not breathe.
She entered the hospital around 11 o'clock that morning, February 13th, the day before Valentine's, and by that evening she had lost her right lung. It was the size of a golf ball. She disappeared.
I didn't understand how it could progress so fast from the flu to the liquid, filling up her chest cavity so quickly.
The chest x-ray came back abnormal. She had a whiteout, I believe it was the right side of her lung, and we could not see any lung tissue on the right side. So we put her in the hospital, monitors, make sure she didn't need oxygen, and put her on IV antibiotics, and we had general surgery consulted Dr. Whitehead just in case we needed to drain that fluid.
Shelby had what we would refer to as a complicated pleural effusion, and she had an infectious problem in her lung, pneumonia. So what I did for Shelby on 2 different occasions was go to the operating room, make small incisions between the ribs, insert a camera, and then use special instruments that can also go through the ribs to remove all of that fluid to try and remove some of the inflammatory exudate that was on the lung and leave large drainage tubes to drain the fluid as it accumulated.
When she ended up with the 2 chest tubes, that was traumatic for all of us because the smaller chest tubes didn't work, and so she had to have adult-sized chest tubes, which is like basically like having 2 garden hoses stuck in the side of your chest, one above the other. They're very painful.